Hi, and welcome to The Spirit, the Beyond Files.
Ready to question reality? You're in the right place.
Let's dive in.
Looks like Gozer is getting summoned from Ghostbusters.
I've never seen anything like that before in my life. They say it's an actual scientific thing where I think the ions meet the ionosphere and the electricity and it all mixes into some sort of gas. I have no idea. Have you ever seen that in your life before?
No.
So if you're wearing a smartwatch, you are cooking the meridian line of the heart, the brain, and the lungs. So people start getting a lot of breathing issues, heart issues, and brain issues because they're cooking that area. We talk about copper and inflammation. So check this. Back in the day, they used to weld copper to people's wrists so that they would get rid of inflammation. Now, the other interesting thing is about when placing copper onto the wrist, what you're doing is you're helping to enhance the meridian line of the wrist. And the meridian line of the wrist connects to the heart and to the brain and through the body. If a person is suffering from inflammation and pain around the elbow, around the shoulder, around the neck, any place you could wrap copper around that area and you could help get rid of inflammation and pain just by simple copper. And you see this with a lot of sports. There's like a lot of sports gear out there where they take copper and they wrap it around somebody. It's got like a little thing that's to help reduce the inflammation. And that's because what happens is if the electrical conductivity slows down in the body, then what happens is you start to get inflammation and pain. And so people would wrap copper around the area so that they could increase the electrical conductivity, which helps to increase the blood flow and also help make the body move. A lot of the times too, people are lacking circulation. Copper can help increase circulation.
Have you used copper?
I do notice when I wear a smartwatch, my wrist hurts. It weirdly aches and I feel uncomfortable. It's not just the normal I'm wearing a watch feeling. It's like, get it off. I want it off.
They just malfunction. They don't work right when I wear them.
Oh, that's because you're a slider probably.
Yeah, my body is just repelling that frequency.
But it makes sense now why people have the copper knee braces. And, yeah.
Have you guys ever tried copper therapy and has it worked for you? Let us know in the comments.
Yo, this video is one of the most, it's going like hyper viral. Watch this thing transform into something else, like right in front of your eyes. It's like creepy. Watch. Alright, look at the top of the screen there. Watch this thing. Ready? Beep. Holy, if you would have told me in my lifetime that I would have seen something like that, I would have told you were nuts. And then here it goes behind the mountain there. Dude, I'm sorry. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Hyperviral? He looks like Christopher Walken to me. He reminds me of Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
I have never seen anything like that. And I have heard about those plasmoids or those phasma balls, whatever you want to call them, have been shifting into drones and things that look real, but they're not. It's just energy that they're shifting around.
Yeah, like they're taking form of things that look like things of our Earth to blend in. Oh, I'm not really a fan.
Could these pictures and videos be of a real dogman, werewolf, or even shapeshifter? And at the end of this video, I'm even going to have recorded audio of what these creatures might even sound like. Now, what do you guys believe? Do you think there could be creatures like Dogman, even werewolves, or even shapeshifters running around?
Could you imagine waking up in the middle of the night and that thing is in your face?
Mm-mm. Or the screaming, the roaring,
howling.
Listen, I've heard some stories, man. I've heard some stories about werewolves in Maine and people's accounts of them jumping all over the farmhouse. It's scary. Do I believe in it? I think I do.
I do too.
Fluctuation there. There we go. If you don't know where that is, I do. Is in Sedona. And it is a well-known vortex phenomenon. There's several of them there, and you are witnessing a gate, portal, wormhole, stargate, whatever you want to call it, from this bedroom to another state, using a mixture of two solid tones.
This is an oldie but a goodie. Ever since the TikTok algorithm reset, this came back up on my page. I think this was from a few years ago. And this guy totally disappeared, and it was covered on the news. He managed to use frequencies to open these portals, and he stepped through one and recorded it. We're open to a beach. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I just thought it was a cool revisit.
I wonder where he is now.
Me too.
Hopefully in a better place.
I remember I posted a video a few months ago talking about coincidence. And that is just funny. I find it very interesting. I'm gonna play a video. Let me know what you think.
What's a coincidence that you think about a lot? I don't know what you would consider a lot, but I've thought about this every day for the past 2 years. In 1888, a man named Ingersoll Lockwood wrote a book called Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, where a 10-year-old boy named Baron Trump, who has a mentor named Don, who is a rich man who lives on 5th Avenue in New York City, he and Don travel to Russia to find a portal to a magical underground world. The third book in the series is called 1900 or The Last President, where Don runs for president, gets elected, his mentor's name is Pence. There are protests and riots in the streets because he's not a politician, he's a rich man. He fixes the economy, and they mess with the election of 1900, and when he goes to plead his case, he is silenced by the Speaker of the House. There's a lot of coincidences right there. Also, I guess it's a coincidence that Ingersoll Lockwood lived in New York City at the same time as Nikola Tesla, who was working on time travel and teleportation and all sorts of craziness. When Nikola Tesla died in 1943, the FBI gave all of his unfinished research to John Trump, Donald Trump's uncle, who is the longest tenured professor at MIT. He was given, I believe, 38 chunks of information. He only gave 35 back, stating that it was all theoretical. Interesting. I guess it's also a coincidence that IngersollLockwood.com is owned by John McAfee, who tweeted that he had 31 terabytes of information on the government, and if they ever whacked him, he had a dead man. Anyway, John McAfee said that he had 31 terabytes of information on the government that was connected to a dead man switch in his Miami penthouse. Less than 12 hours after he was found dead in his cell in France, a building in Miami just mysteriously just fell down. That's a coincidence, right? I haven't even talked about Back to the Future yet, but John Trump died in 1985, which is the same year as Back to the Future came out. In Back to the Future 3, the Doc writes a letter from 1885 to 1955 to let Marty know where he is in time. Could these books be a message to somebody from 1885 into the future? As long as we're talking about Back to the Future, in the first movie, Marty shows up at the Twin Pine Mall at exactly 1:16 a.m. You turn that upside down, that's 9/11. When he comes back from the past, it is now Lone Pine Mall. Twin Towers, and now we have the One World Trade Center. Coincidence. Absolutely. Coincidence. Sure, it's nothing. And yeah, I've spent a little bit of time researching this coincidence, and I still got nothing. I don't know. Time travel, it's like time travel exists now. Yep.
If they got the audiobooks, I'm buying them and I'm reading them, and we'll have to do an episode on the podcast about it.
For sure.
Holy shit.
It's pretty cool. And you're going to read the audiobook or listen?
Yeah. Well, it's listen reading,
Cheater.
okay? It's just as good as reading. It is. Sometimes it's better.
That's true.
Er is dus brandweer gekomen omdat er een duif of een meeuw hangt, maar aan een draadje of zo. Maar hij zweeft in de lucht. Hij leeft nog. Ja. Wat is dit, joh?
But wait, there's more. So that had to be either a really big spider web or some kind of weird thread that held that bird. But this just goes to show you that we have to look into things and we can't just take things for face value. And yes, we can all get duped by AI and stuff like that every once in a while, but sometimes there's a logical explanation.
Always got to have a little healthy skepticism.
Debunk.
You guys remember Suzanne Somers dying not too long ago?
Yeah.
Three's Company, Step by Step.
Yeah.
I forgot that she passed away.
Well, apparently her husband is saying that she's still around.
What?
He said one day at their house, a hummingbird got into their house.
Okay.
And flew over and landed
On him?
on a picture of both of them.
Aww.
When have you ever seen a hummingbird land?
Or even go in somewhere.
I mean, I've seen them land on like feeders because they'll stop and
Oh,
like.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
them
'cause they're
land.
eating stuff.
Yeah.
I never seen them land on those. I just see them like
crazy.
hover
Like,
and like.
branches and stuff.
And then he says,
Okay, that's enough to make me go,
"Okay,
Was like a hummingbird like a special thing to her?
I don't know."
But either way,
pretty special.
The fact that it,
Well, here's the next thing.
Yeah.
The fireplace in their house turned on by itself,
Okay.
and then
Dangerous.
That's
That's
a
a
fire
gas
hazard.
leak.
their radio turned on.
Suzanne, knock it off!
Hey, you're gonna burn. She's like trying to
radio
kill
turned on?
everybody.
The stereo turned on to her favorite composer. So the fireplace turned on, and then the stereo turned on with her favorite music.
she
on.
was trying to get She was like, I'm not getting no action in the ghost world right now.
Suzanne Somers trying to fuck.
R.I.P.
Rest in peace, Suzanne Somers.
Suzanne Somers Thigh Master. I don't know if you guys remember the Thigh Master. I believe that she was visiting her husband. Why wouldn't she come in? And those are really good signs, though.
Your loved ones are going to send you signs. If someone close to you passes away, be open to it and you'll definitely see signs. And birds are definitely a big signifier.
You remember that first episode of Skinwalker Ranch where they hit the ranch superintendent with a directed energy weapon? No? Let's watch.
One day I decided to do some digging, and then 3 days after, I noticed that I had a goose egg on the back of my head. By the time I let my wife finally take me to the emergency room, the goose egg had actually spread through my entire head. My scalp separated from my skull, The pain is so excruciating. I've never felt anything like it before in my life. The doctors had no idea what caused it.
Hold up. That's the same brain scan that was used in a Vice article. Look at that. But the Vice article one has some extra drawings on there. And what do they say? Well, look, it's the direction of the radiation, and it's coming from above and behind Thomas Winterton. The subject of the article, Dr. Gary Nolan, states very clearly that it's not a UFO, it's an energy weapon being used by a state actor. This is going to come as a shock to a lot of you, but Skinwalker Ranch probably doesn't have anything to do with aliens and has everything to do with exotic weapon technology. Back in 2008, Bob Bigelow, the former owner of Skinwalker Ranch and Bigelow Aerospace, signed a contract with the Defense Intelligence Agency to report on new technologies. The reports they were preparing were meant to encapsulate everything around advanced aerospace weaponry, including lift, propulsion, etc., including the human effects of being in contact with these new technologies. One of these reports deals with the anomalous acute and subacute field effects on human biological tissues. It was prepared by Dr. Christopher Kit Green, and he goes over how various advanced aerospace technologies can expose humans to exceptionally strong exotic fields that can cause all kinds of crazy shit, heating and burn effects, internal neurological, psychiatric injury, etc. And quote, since the potential deployment of advanced weapons technology is subsumed under this topic, of interest are not only the side effects associated with possible lift and propulsion field mechanisms of advanced craft architectures, but also the effects from advanced weapon systems as well. These include, but are not limited to, beam weapons and active denial systems, including high-powered microwaves. And these have the ability to cause frontal temporal headaches with millimeter waves, pulses of radio frequency to disorient and destabilize muscular coordination, and at this frequency, they can also cause thermoelastic expansion in the brain, which is pretty much exactly what we saw in Thomas Winterton's injuries. Dr. Nolan, who has Thomas Winterton's brain scans in this Vice article, was working hand in hand with Dr. Green, who wrote this paper. It's funny, you don't hear any mention of skinwalkers in any of these briefs that Bigelow Aerospace put together, so it's looking a lot less like spooky paranormal and a whole hell of a lot more like treason.
So all of us are here thinking that Skinwalker Ranch has got UFOs and skinwalkers and things going on. Interesting to know, another debunk.
You got to be careful with what you watch out there.
Yeah, a lot of.
Like what you see? Go ahead and just give us a like and hit that bell for notifications, and make sure to subscribe to us so you can be up to date with all the strange and unusual content.
It's the whole city. Okay, you guys, I'm kind of freaking out and it's hard for you to see it, but if you look closely at the city watch, all of the lights are gonna suddenly start blinking. Do you see? It's throwing me off so much. I hope that you guys can see it through the rain. Look at that. Do you guys see that?
With everything that is going on in the world, especially in LA, you have the fires, you have a lot of energy going on, and we have a collective awakening. Do you think that a lot of people are waking up and they're tapping into their energy and it is causing this electrical sensation?
Or is the fire messing with the grid?
This is the clearest footage of a ghost that I have ever seen. Moments after that first figure walked into the room, it came back a second time. Comment down below what you think these figures can be and hit that follow button for more.
Do you know if you take this mountain peak in the Garden of the Gods, Colorado, and turn it sideways, and you see a man's face there and think it's pareidolia? Well, then they have you stuck exactly where they want you. Not knowing truth and not being open-minded enough to know where you truly live. When I first started seeing the faces in the rocks about 2 years ago, I thought it all had to be CGI, computer generated, or AI. And then my brother-in-law, my very own brother-in-law, sent me this picture. And it took my guard down enough to make me realize that this was real, this was going on. And then when you start to realize that the place where you live is a whole lot different than what you ever could imagine, and you see that these faces in the rocks are literally everywhere, and some of them are so real and so distinct and so perfectly facial features that even if you are dead asleep, you have to ask yourself, what in the world is going on here? And back to the beginning where I said if you think these rock formations are just pareidolia looking like something but not really something, well then, like I said, they have you exactly where they want you. And where they want you is accepting the reality that they have fed you, the reality through the television, the reality through the public indoctrination, education system. They want you seeing and not believing because it doesn't match what they told you. And they want you to especially not believe the Bible. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God, angels, came into the daughters of men. They created the giants, the Nephilim. And we saw that the giants, the son of Anak, which came of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. You see, you might be awake, but are you awake enough to know that all the lies are spiritual, and they are trying to hide the fact that the Bible and God and JC are real? It's why they hide giants. It's why they hide dragons. This is a cave in Egypt. Again, is that just pareidolia to you, or something else that's mentioned in the Bible dozens of times? It's why they hide the firmament, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons. Right in the first page of the Bible. Right there. So go ahead, continue to think that this is just pareidolia, and that you're an evolved ape spinning 1,000 miles per hour every day, and 66,000 miles per hour around the sun every year, and chasing everything through the universe at astounding 1.2 million miles per hour, only to have the stars never to change, ever, ever. Or you can start questioning things and looking at things as they are, not as you're told. But of course, all of this was just for entertainment purposes. I know those just happened because glaciers traveled through here millions of years ago and formed these rock formations that have perfect noses. Entertainment only.
So I totally believe that giants exist. At least they did at one point on this earth. They probably still do in their hidden. As far as the mountains, I'm not sure. I'm not saying it's not possible. It definitely looks like something to me.
Yes, some things definitely could be, but sometimes, that pareidolia. So some things I think that could be, but I think some things people do have that like pareidolia. The thing where you can see faces and everything.
Pareidolia.
I can't say it. I don't think I've ever said it out loud before. But I think we kind of look a little too into things, and we can find faces in anything too. So you still got to have a little bit of an open mind with that.
It's something you need to know about. Something's coming. It's called super AI. And you may be thinking, oh God, another AI, but hold on, hear me out. This isn't like ChatGPT or one of these information AIs, right? Right now we have these things we go to for information. If you need to look something up, if you need to write a term paper, or maybe even you need a grocery list that's tailored to you, that's great. That's information. With this AI that's coming is physical. Right now, this isn't later, right now, there exist virtual worlds where these computers, this super AI, is training. They have avatars in the virtual world. This virtual world is identical to our world in every way. The physics of it, the way if you throw a ball, it comes down and all of that. It's all identical. These super AI, they have avatars like you or me, and they train. They train for every task imaginable, any task that a human being has done in our history. This computer avatar can train millions of times so that by the time it is put into a robot in the real world, it performs whatever task flawlessly. Combine that with its computational power, and we have something that is going to change the world fundamentally. This is happening now. Don't take my word for it. I'm asking you not to. Look it up. I have to do 2 parts because there's too much to go over, but let me just say this in conclusion. What's about to happen with this super AI and in the physical world? It is going to revolutionize everything. When this is introduced, human beings become obsolete. Obsolete. Whoever arrives at the finish line with this super intelligence first, it's game over. That's why there were many countries, factions, groups competing voraciously for this, because whoever has this, like I said, game over. I know, another thing to worry about. I'm not trying to do that. You should know about it. All right.
This reminds me of the Sentinels in X-Men that can replicate, and once they figure out all the X-Men's powers, and then they can take it for their own, and nothing good comes of that.
I don't like how fast this is moving, and I don't like that it's being ushered in so easily without a fight, because we're all just sitting around twiddling our thumbs and playing with ChatGPT, I guess, thinking it's all innocent and fun and games until it's not.
Mm-hmm.
We're already seeing people lose their jobs, and we're seeing cars that drive themselves, and this is a whole nother level.
Moving too fast.
We had to end on a funny note, and the funniest part of this is I see this all the time for real.
I do too.
People are like pulling the energy.
I kind of swipe up fast because I don't
No.
want someone pulling at my energy. Thanks for tuning in to the strange and unusual of To the Spirit. Until next time.